This next bit is from the perspective of a Kanye West fan. Man, I sure do love Kanye. He says lots of positive things that inspire me and people around the world.
Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table.
Wow, what an optimistic way of viewing the world and the inherent value of human life.
Especially Hitler.
Damn it. Hey, shout out Classy for that banger. I would say I feel bad for Kanye West's manager, but I think if he actually had one that was worth a cow's fart in the ozone layer, they wouldn't let him have gone on Alex Jones in the first place. Hi again, guys. And yeah, you heard me right. That is, if you hadn't heard about it before I said it. Content warning on what we're talking about in this video. Anti-Semitism and other heavy subjects like it are gonna come up. In fact, those subjects are pretty much the entire video. So Kanye went on Alex Jones's InfoWars as part of his walk-off of talk shows tour he's been trailblazing recently, and it has been taking on the shape of a train wreck more and more each day. New stuff keeps happening every day of the week that makes the figurative death toll of that train collision go up. There's probably new stuff between me writing and recording this video and actually managing to upload it, but let me do my best to catch you up to speed using that train crash metaphor. You could first see a spark on the rails, maybe spot a flaw in the construction of the tracks when Kanye first made that DEFCON 3 on Jewish people tweet. He got his Twitter account restricted for that one. Can you believe all that stuff happened before Elon owned Twitter? Feels like it's been years. Regardless, the train started getting a little wobbly on the tracks in the Tucker Carlson interview, where Kanye was still playing a little coy and dancing around the Jewish question thing, at least when asked about it in person. Then he went on Lex Friedman's podcast, where he got some amount of pushback for talking about Jewish people in the hateful way he was. Then he walked off his Piers Morgan interview to top it off.
After that moment happens, then I will say, I'm sorry.
Okay, if that's your position.
That's clear. Interview adjourned. Love you.
Okay. That's the end of the interview.
Eventually, he was spotted hanging out with Nick Fuentes, who he brought to a dinner with former President Trump. And if you don't know who Nick Fuentes is, he's like an out-and-out white supremacist. He just straight up denies the Holocaust. You could see the car parked on the track, stuck under the railroad crossing sign, about to get hit when Kanye walked off the Timcast, because the host Tim Pool said that maybe he should ease up on the outwardly hating Jewish people stuff. And then when Ye went on to InfoWars, the wreck became a crash site with casualties in the triple digits.
I don't like Nazis, and I don't like what some of the mafias are doing either.
I like Hitler.
I like Hitler, he says, before immediately cutting to ad break. Don't let him trying to push back on it make you think Alex Jones is any more capable of being a decent person, but it is a fucking feat to turn him into the uncomfortable person in a room for once. There were lots of clips like that one coming out of that one interview that I am sure you've seen all over Twitter, and it has been a nightmare. It's unbelievable to me how fucking accurately one of my favorite artists, Zach Fox, called this. All the way back in 2018, that dude tweeted, "Highly recommend getting off the Kanye train before it inevitably reaches the Hitler was a good guy stop." It seemed prolific even back when Kanye was still talking about Jews in a more general and cryptic sense, but then on the Alex Jones show, he practically says the quote word for word, bar for bar.
There's a lot of things that I love about Hitler. A lot of things.
It's like he read that tweet back in the day and thought, wouldn't it be funny if I made this come true later?
I wake up and I look at my phone and they say Ye's an anti-Semitic. So I said, okay, well, I'm an anti-Semitic. No, you said I'm an anti-Semitic. Get it?
Okay, yeah, maybe that was what he was thinking. This whole situation has been devastating for Kanye fans. The fallout has spilled out to every person who was personally affected by his music, and it kind of just fucking sucks that he's a raging anti-Semite now. There's this meme account on TikTok called Kanye West Lover 911, and it's been around for months. It just says its own names in random comment sections, whether a TikTok had to do with Kanye or not. But as more stuff has been happening with Ye recently, the posts that account has been making are just sadder and sadder. People were flabbergasted that this guy was still keeping this whole bit going at this point.
Peter, how are you doing that?
I don't know, Lois. I'm scared.
Now the account's just posting slideshows to sad music of things Kanye said recently, and then going back in time to when Ye was very explicitly anti-Nazi. It's corny to say, especially in this context, but I miss the old Kanye. Other people on TikTok were desperately trying to read between the lines about how Kanye doesn't actually hate Jewish people, but at every turn he made their lives harder by doubling down harder. He was saying crazier and more hateful shit by the day until he just outright denied the Holocaust.
I like Hitler. I do not. The Holocaust is not what happened. Let's look at the facts of that. And Hitler has a lot of redeeming qualities.
So tell us.
I am also one of those former, disgraced, repented Kanye fans. He could have invented penicillin and it would not have made up for all the shit he's been saying. And I felt like a moron because just a few months ago, right before he started going all Fourth Reich on Twitter, I was playing his old songs to my stream. I was trying to convince my chat that, hey, the guy might not be great, but the music is first rate. I'm never doing that shit again. I did manage to dodge one major bullet though, public humiliation. You see, this year's Spotify Wrapped dropped just a few days ago, and around the same time all this stuff went down. If you don't know, Wrapped is a summary of what music somebody listened to on their Spotify account in a given year. It breaks down by artist, song, minutes plays, genre. It's got a lot of juicy detail. And stakes were very high this year because you did not want to be caught with Kanye in your top 5. If you posted that list with him on it, it was like walking on the street with cum still on your face. I asked y'all for yours to judge on the second channel, and more than one person literally just scribbled out Kanye on their list with red marker. They were treating him like the uncle your family doesn't talk about for some reason, except in this case, we know exactly why we're not talking about him. Turns out being an anti-Semite is kind of fucking evil. That scratching out approach didn't work for everybody though. The poor editor for my second channel, my friend Flinders, has been having a very rough week. Every time I've been in a Discord call with him recently, he has just been sobbing. To him, this whole thing has been like a loved one being revealed as an axe-wielding murderer, and they exclusively use that axe to kill puppies. I swear, Flynn was a pre-October Kanye listener. He really didn't know this was gonna happen. Still, in the modern day, it is an unfortunate look. Here's a Spotify Wrapped for reference. His most played song was Off the Grid by Kanye. His top 5 songs are all made by Kanye or have a Kanye feature on them, and his top artist overall was Kanye, in the top 0.05% of listeners. This poor fella has been having a waking nightmare of a time. On r/Kanye, they have transitioned full-time into a Taylor Swift subreddit. Some of them were reflecting on and regretting their treatment of her in years past, considering what Kanye is getting up to now. The biggest reckoning I've seen a Kanye fan community go through, though, is r/WestSubEver. It was a very big Kanye community subreddit, and it went private for a bit before deciding to just shut down the entire operation. Their new About section now reads, formerly dedicated to news, theories, and discussions about disgraced artist and neo-Nazi Kanye West. They just put the lid on that whole thing and called it a day. They can't get behind what he's saying, for obvious reasons, and decided to do a greatest hits. They made a big Hall of Fame post of the subreddit's history to end it off, and that was it. The last post ever made on r/WestSubEver is the update about Kanye saying, I like Hitler. It was like that last Tetris block falling in place that stops any others from ever coming through. Now, some folks want to chalk up this entire situation to Kanye being in a mental health crisis, and like, maybe he does, but at a certain point it comes off like this tweet, Kanye West, you may be suffering from undiagnosed ADHD and or anxiety. Please watch Bo Burnham Inside ASAP. But the thing is, plenty of people who suffer from bipolar disorder like Kanye do not become Nazis overnight. In fact, I'm pretty sure most of them don't become Nazis ever. The overnight part might not even be true for Kanye either, because apparently he's got a history of admiring Hitler in private from all the way back in 2018 that was kept private. I'm only speculating based on a few articles on that one. I'm not really certain about the details, but it wouldn't surprise me. But yes, the people around Kanye right now are likely taking advantage of his vulnerable mental state, maybe encouraging him to make decisions that benefit their interests and are against his own. But the reality is that Kanye is a man with all the resources in the world who actively refuses treatment. It's not some inaccessibility of care hurdle that he can't clear. He's choosing to continue on this downward spiral. Sure, the mental illness absolutely plays a role, but to infantilize Kanye as someone who can't control his actions when he chooses to cut all the people out of his life who probably would have tried to push him on a healthier path, and when he has the resources to get help but continues to choose not to. At a certain point, you have to admit that these decisions are on nobody else but Kanye West. It's obvious I'm a bit late to this whole thing. I mean, there was a month of history we had to cover before we could even get to the recent stuff. Part of it was that as a former fan of him, it sucked seeing all that shit come up and hearing him say it. But you know who it sucked more for? Jewish people. Especially Jewish people who were also listeners of him. To me, actively condemning something, even if it's just words, is worth the time it takes to say them. I know that just saying Nazis are bad seems trivial and like a complete virtue signal. It's like, no shit, Nazis are evil. I've said it a few times during this video if you weren't sure about it. But that's the thing. The never forget, never again part of Holocaust remembrance means being constantly reminded. As time passes, people who have these hateful beliefs feel like the dust has settled and they feel a little more comfortable trying to push again. They get a little more emboldened to say some wackier and wackier shit. And when one of the most influential people in the world comes out saying, hey, I like Hitler, sure, it's probably not anybody's first time hearing about the guy, but calls to action are powerful. Why do y'all think I asked you to subscribe at the beginning of every video? Kanye wasn't even directly calling for action, but we've tangibly seen this thing go out into the real world. Back in October, when it was just the one Kanye tweet about DEFCON 3, there were folks hanging signs saying, Kanye is right about the Jews over a freeway. It's not just that. In general, anti-Semitic hate crimes have been on the rise in the past few years, as well as the rhetoric. Jewish people out there are actively seeing the world become more openly hostile to them. To you and me, it might be as simple as Nazi Nazis are evil, duh. It's not like you have to repeat it. But based on what's happening in the world right now, it's understandable why Jewish people would think that less people actually agree with that statement than we thought. So to me, it's worth reaffirming that Nazis are evil, even if it comes off as redundant and pointless. It leaves no nuance about whether that's what I still believe. It's true. Words of support may just be words, thoughts and prayers and all that shit, but support isn't nothing. Being open about that kind of thing is like the least you can do. Anyways, that's all I got. Remember, guys, don't be racist or hate on Jewish people. That's like not cool.